Hello everyone. Today I am talking to the fabulous Barb Paldos. Barb is the founder, and I do believe she's also a PhD of Codex, which is in the box this month, and I'm absolutely thrilled she could join us. Let me tell you, for us, it's around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. For her, it's 6 a.m., which is why it looks so dark on her screen. It's a bit like that. So I'm really grateful for you coming on board. Thank you so much, Barb, for coming in. Lovely to see you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share, and answer whatever questions you have.
Right. So we're going to start. So first of all, I want to ask you about Codex because it's an unusual name and there is so much behind the brand. So tell us all about Codex and why it's special.
So Codex was actually the first bound book. Before that, people were using scrolls, they were using parchment, and you can imagine, that didn't hold together very well. And actually, so the historians say, now we don't really obviously have any evidence of this, during the Gallic Wars, Julius Caesar was really having trouble taking notes. And so he had one of his soldiers take some, whether it was parchment or some animal hide, and sew it down the middle. He folded it over, and lo and behold, that became one of the first codices. That became a bound book. And obviously, with Gutenberg and the press, much later, 16th century, they perfected the art of binding. And for about 2000 years, the Codex was the main way, oh, there's my cat, of information transfer, everything from science to mathematics. And so it was around. Today, a lot of the codices are digital. Like if you think of your Kindle or, something, electronics like your phone, it's an access point to incredible amounts of information. Today, the information at our fingertips is much, much, much higher than it was. And so we wanted to be a repository for information, not just about plants, but about formulations. And we also wanted to really reflect our transparency to the customer, kind of like what's in the product, why does it work, how do we make it? And so to us, we're really a beauty information and a data and science company in many ways.
Now, this is what really fascinates me about you because you are a really clean beauty company. You're really committed to that. This is the products in the box. I don't know if anyone knows, but this is actually made from sugarcane.
Yes, exactly.
Unbelievable, but it feels exactly like plastic. It's just mad.
Because it is plastic. So this is the cool thing. This is actually polyethylene, and it's also recyclable plastic, which is really
Yes.
important. And this has a negative carbon footprint. So actually this takes carbon dioxide out of the air, out of the atmosphere. So you know how everybody's talking about greenhouse gases and global warming and how we need to reduce our carbon footprint? Well, the best way to reduce our carbon footprint is to grow plants. And so the sugar cane takes the carbon dioxide out of the air, it fixes it, and then you turn it essentially into syrup, and then you can turn that syrup into ethanol, and that ethanol becomes polyethylene. And this is identical, it's nature identical, and then you can mold it. Now it's a little softer than your traditional fossil fuel-based plastic, but it's negative carbon footprint. And we're really excited about that because every food we buy helps the environment.
I'm not surprised because I look at packaging a lot because it's really important to quite a lot of our audience. And some of the mascara products you can get, some of the lipstick products say you can recycle them and you can't.
No.
And so we work really hard to work with brands that take this seriously. But not only that, quite often when you find a clean beauty company, it's very when I say simple formulations, I mean minimal formulations. It's very natural. It's much more like, aromatherapy products. But this is actually your science behind this. Your formulations are very, very strong and very, very rigorous. So tell me about that, because matching the science and the clean beauty isn't something you often see.
No, so we actually start again with the plant. So you can think of us as a plant-based biotech company. We don't see ourselves as a beauty company in the sense that we do everything the way you would develop a drug product. And I'm actually originally from the biotech industry, and it's really cool that a lot of the vaccines now are being made in the equipment that I developed 13, 14 years ago. So we look at this as basically a treatment product. not just, obviously it needs to smell nice and have good texture. So we start with plants. We work with organic farmers. We work with wild harvesters. Some of the plants in our products you can't actually grow in mass production. You have to actually go to the swamp and harvest it, like the bog myrtle that's in our facial oil. I know it sounds like something out of Harry Potter, bog myrtle. Um, in the case of this product, there's basically a serrated rack, which is wild harvested.
Yeah.
There's actually in Bog Noir, there's basically the bog myrtle, and then there's seaweed harvesters that have worked and hand harvested seaweed in Ireland for many generations. So they go out there, they harvest it, and then we actually send it to the UK for processing. And we work with a company that processes these ingredients to extract the actives that we want in the way we want. And also maximizes, so we're not, ripping huge numbers of plants out of the environment. That's also part of that, going back to that environmental transparency and preserving the ecosystem. And then we've actually invented a new preservation system, which is based on ferments. So, everyone's familiar with yogurt, with lactobacillus, with kimchi, fermented coconut products. And so what's cool about this is that, and it's patented now in the US, is that every ingredient, there's 4 ingredients in this, has also a skin benefit function. So the lactobacillus is a great way to get rid of microbes. It basically is a great antibacterial, so it will kill all kinds of microbes. The coconut, the fermented coconut, is a great antifungal. So that, things like, you don't want little mushrooms growing in your product. And then the potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate are essentially great for yeast and molds. So now you have your antibacterial, you have your antifungal, you have your anti-yeast and mold product. And what's cool is that coconut is also great as an emollient for your skin, so it makes your skin nice and soft. The lactobacillus is like a probiotic, so it's really good for your skin's microbiome. And then the potassium sorbate minimizes your irritation. So you have to have something that kills yeast and molds, but you don't want it to irritate your skin. And finally, we boost it with propanediol, which is like a corn extract, a fermented corn extract. And that's a great humectant, which actually moisturizes your skin.
Yeah.
So now you have something that preserves it, preserves this product, but at the same time, it makes your skin softer, it protects your microbiome. And so these products actually have passed the My Microbiome certification. What that means is that they don't really change the population of your microbiome, and more importantly, they don't kill your microbiome, because a lot of these preservatives on the market are designed to kill everything, right? They're there to protect the product, but they can also, with a lot of frequent use, not be that great for your microbiome. So this is microbiome friendly, which is another key feature. So it's not just clinically tested, it doesn't just work, but first do no harm, right?
Yes, I agree. Now we've started talking about the microbiome, and December, Jan, Feb. So December 2020, Jan, Feb 2021, we are looking to get our skin glowing, which is why we've put this in the box. Now, what's this going to do for me? Because it's actually got quite a different feel to a lot of moisturizers. It's
very light.
Yeah, it is. But it sits up more than actually I'm doing that. It sits up more than other moisturizers. Some are a bit softer, a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Thinner.
Emollient, thinner. Yeah.
Whereas this is quite, it's not greasy at all. I don't know if you can see that. It's not greasy. It's just, it's really light, really goes in the skin. It's got a different feel. Talk to me about what it's going to do for us.
So part of the feel is actually the way that it's formulated. And again, we've tried to do something that's rapidly absorbing, because the last thing when you want to get hydration is have something that sits at the top of your skin. Now, if you want that kind of protection, you use an oil, but you really want that hydration to sink in. So this does contain hyaluronic acid, which we know that's kind of a must if you're going to have a moisturizer. But the other thing that it contains is calendula. And we all know that calendula is a great skin soother. Yes. And basically, if you get irritated skin, especially, for example, if you're wearing a mask all day long and it's, scratching you up, or you're getting a lot of humidity that then settles in your skin, that can actually be stripping as well. And so the calendula is there to soothe, and you kind of feel that. And then there's things, like various essential oils in here that, again, are meant to calm. and it's formulated again with natural oils, so that this is also EcoCert. So this is certified EcoCert organic. It's obviously vegan because it's only plant-based. It's cruelty-free as well, and it's EWG verified. Are you familiar with the Environmental Working Group over in the UK?
No, share.
Oh, so that basically is an American, you can think of it as policing group that because although the FDA regulates all of our beauty products and they say don't harm anybody, don't, cause issues,
Yeah.
there really is no official enforcement of that. So unless you have like now with hand sanitizers that were made with methanol that, people for some reason try to drink and turn blind, unless it's something that truly threatens, one of your senses, whether that's, for example, your vision or your hearing, which wouldn't be the case in beauty, but unless it's really health threatening, it kind of, it's an honor system. So they assume that the companies are following, safety guidelines. Obviously the rules are your product must be safe. So they assume the, companies developing them are testing them, are doing the safety testing. And the problem with so many indie brands now in the US, a lot of the founders and people, they genuinely don't know. And so the Environmental Working Group has what's called an EWG verified program, and they check your formulation and they check basically the toxicology of your formulation, and they've tried to establish some guidelines. And for example, if you say, I want to sell my product in Europe, they'll also check the European guidelines. So the verified program is a great kind of third-party way to make sure that your formulation is safe. You don't have any toxic ingredients. Like in our case, for example, we also make soaps. And they asked us, for example, does the clay have heavy metals in it? And when we went back to the supplier, it was a small UK supplier, they were like, why would we check heavy metals? So we went, took the clay and had those measurements. So that kind of work also is done for this product. So that's done across the board for all of our products to make them truly, truly clean.
That's incredible level of detail.
It is. And sorry, I hope I'm not boring you.
No, I mean, in terms of the thought process behind the product, and the challenge, the reason why we do these interviews is the challenge is to get that from a box is really hard. So when you see this on the shelf, to understand everything that's behind the brand, it's really challenging for people, particularly if they've not come into contact with the brand before. So I love the fact that you've explained all that, and I love the depth you go into.
And then we also do clinical testing. So I don't know if that's going to now be on our box, but it's not yet on our box. So for example, specifically this day cream, this was really cool. When we tested it on about 33 women aged 36 to 65, so that's exactly kind of the age group we're talking about here. We tested it for 28 days because that's enough for your skin to turn over, right? The cells on your skin. 100% of the test subjects had a 52% increase in hydration, which was really awesome. And then that's measured with a machine called a corneometer. Someday you can actually find that on our website. So that's basically a quantitative way of measuring hydration. Then we also tested it with what's called a tevometer, which measures your transepidermal water loss. And you might be like, what is that and why is that important? That's essentially an indirect measure of your skin barrier. You can think of it as the more water you're losing, the worse your skin barrier is at protecting your skin from losing water, and therefore from other things coming into your skin too, because it works both ways with the barrier, right? And so 50% of the test subjects had a 4.5% decrease in the water loss. So basically, not only does it help hydrate, but then it locks that moisture in. To me, the coolest result was those skin flakiness, right? Because you know how in the winter and when you're wearing masks, it's kind of gross. And so we were able to show that basically 93% of the test subjects had a 33%. So basically a third decrease in skin flakiness, which was cool. And then actually after the full 4 weeks, 100% of test subjects had a 50% decrease in flakiness. So this is awesome in the sense that it not only hydrates, but it locks it in. And then basically it gets rid of, that desquamation and kind of that, that roughness. And you asked about glow. Glow is actually how your face reflects light. And so the smoother the skin, the less like rough patches and squame you may have, the more it's going to glow. So this basically also makes you glow.
Boom. It's a winner. Thank you so much, Barb. I really appreciate it. So we're going to use this for the day moisturiser. We're going to see results after about 28 days. And we can find out more on Codex, and I'll put the website up so people can go to the website and have a look more at what they can see on there as well. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it's an amazing product. Thank you so much for coming into the box as well.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Karen. Really, really appreciate it.
No problem. And have a great day.